All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, March 18th. We are here with a new episode of the Man to Man podcast, episode 15. Tom, how you doing, bud? Do you remember anything from the other night?
Unfortunately, New Jersey is still kind of in that COVID phase, so everything closes at 10, unless it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I have my cousin's coming down from Connecticut. He's joining me on my trip to Atlantic City. So he's going to come spend the night at my house. We're going to go to the bars, get drunk there. Then we're going down tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then I have a weekend at Atlantic City, which you already know is how that's going to be. So this is really my birthday celebration from tonight forward.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Do they do sports gambling in AC?
That's like half the reason we're going, baby. I'm gonna be putting them down on some of these games, bro.
I would just sit at the sports book all day and start betting, and then eventually be dead.
I'm kind of pissed because I'm trying to get on BetMGM, and they're like not verifying my address when I sent them my driver's license, and I'm like, guys, this is my driver's license. This is where I live. I've confirmed it 4 times now. Please let me in, and they're like, no. So I'm probably gonna go over to DraftKings instead.
They have two. They have like a MGM and there's a DraftKings place in AC.
No. I'm trying to get it verified for the app. Like I'm trying to get on the BetMGM app.
All right, whatever. Yeah, I get what you're saying, kind of. Okay. Well, that should be fun. So I might have to be asking you a couple questions about the outline because it seems like every time I click off of this tab where I'm running the stream.
Yeah, no problem. I have it on my other screen.
It just keeps going. So
he was literally just talking about how when he clicks off it closes the.
All right. Today in sports history, in 1875, there was the 37th Grand National. Tommy Pickernell wins his 3rd Grand National aboard 100-6 chance Pathfinder. That has to be Pathfinder. There's no way it's Pathfind. And in 1900, there's no cricket today, unfortunately. In 1900, Ajax Football Club was formed. It was named after legendary Greek hero Ajax, who was the son of King Telamon and Paraboa. I don't know. And so I figured this would be a good way to start some fun facts about Brad Stevens.
I love Brad Stevens.
He broke the NCAA record for most wins in a coach's first 3 years while at Butler. Mm-hmm. Besides Butler and the Celtics, he also coached at Illinois and UCLA as well. And he actually played college basketball at a school that offered me to play football. DePaul University in Illinois. It's not DePaul, it's DePaul. It's like a division.
Yep.
So
I think it's about time Brad comes home.
And I don't think Brad Brad Stevens isn't coming home.
I didn't hear you cut out for a little bit of that. Do you want to just repeat that?
What? To repeat what?
You said don't think he's coming home unless, and then you cut out, and then it said.
Oh yeah. I mean, unless Jeff Bezos is one of your guys that gives the money.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell you, I don't think Brad Stevens is coming back to Butler to start coaching again for $1 million a year.
Yeah, unless he takes a huge fall off. But I saw a rumor, and there was like a whole thing in the Indy Star, which is the newspaper in Indianapolis, that a plane had touched down in Bloomington, which is where IU plays. A plane touched down in Bloomington with Brad Stevens, Billy Donovan, and a couple of other coaches because they just fired their head basketball coach. So if he goes and goes to IU, it'll be really sad, and he'll turn into a demon on our campus to a certain extent. But if he's looking to come back to college, LaValle is not that good of a coach. I would like to see Brad come back.
Well, I got to tell you, I would much rather be the coach at Indiana than Butler.
Probably, but he's already He's our coach forever.
I mean, that makes sense, I guess. If he ever is going to make like the leap back into college, it's probably right about now, before Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum start acting like the diva superstars that they are, and start asking for trades and everything. So, yeah, it would be a good time for him to go back. I still doubt he will, but
I agree. The money is too much, and he's too good of a coach, honestly, for college, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, well, Billy Donovan was so good. It looks like you said Billy Donovan, so I mean, he might become. He's not the coach of the Thunder anymore, is he?
No, I think he got released, or he didn't get renewed.
They fired him last year, I think, right?
Yeah, so now he's looking for work. I'd like to see Billy Donovan go down to IU. I would like to see that.
I wouldn't mind Billy Donovan at all. I mean, if you look at it by achievements in the past 20 years, there's nothing that tops Billy Donovan's back-to-back national championships at Florida. I mean, and we probably won't see anything. I would find it hard to believe that we'll ever see a back-to-back national champion in the next 20, 25, 30 years. I actually don't think you'll ever see it again, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just because with how
it's so hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's different when it's a series or like one-game playoffs or something like that. But when you just have to play, what is it? 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2. When you have to play 6 games in a row versus teams that you don't know you're going to play, it's got to be tough. So
yeah. Well, hey, unless Virginia this year goes all the way, because they're technically reigning national champions.
Yeah, they are technically. Actually, the funniest part is who is the reigning ACC tournament champions? Not this year, because obviously Florida State won, I think, or Georgia Tech. I didn't watch it, but in 2019,
who won it? North Carolina, I'm guessing.
No, Duke, Zion. Yeah. That was the year with Zion and those guys.
Oh, 29. I was thinking. Okay.
Yes, that is why Coach K is a horrible coach, because that team got worse as the season went on. In some news before we hop into NFL free agency. There's only a couple things that I'm going to touch on briefly. Deshaun Watson has been accused of sexual assaults in 3 lawsuits. He says the claims are baseless. I really have nothing to say regarding that until something comes out. It does seem like a time in Watson's career where if you were going to bring him down, now would be the perfect time. Hopefully it's just some B word out there that wants to bring him down for whatever reason. Yeah. And hopefully it's not real.
I agree. I've always viewed Deshaun Watson as kind of like a stand-up guy-ish. Like when he gave up a bunch of his game checks during the hurricanes and the floodings. I forget what was the name of the hurricane. You know what I'm talking about. Him and JJ Watt did like a huge relief effort for the city of Houston.
In Houston, yeah.
So I've always viewed him as kind of like a good guy and an upstanding guy. So I am very much, and he's been one of my favorite players since he graduated from Clemson. So I'm really hoping that a lot of these are fake, or not a lot of them. I hope that everything is fake.
It's becoming harder and harder to believe. Like I guess I will say I don't think Deshaun Watson did, because I agree he's probably I think he's a stand-up guy. But I know when they came out with the report, I don't know if we talked about it on here, we might have, but the report on LSU and Les Miles when he was there and everything, I think I talked to you about that, but I think that kind of stuff is happening at basically every university, and it's pretty messed up. And I do tend to think that NFL, NBA, MLB players think they have that like edge kind of like, so they're willing to go out there and put themselves out there. So like I said, I hope it's not true, but just tying it back into the Les Miles thing, I think it's happening a lot more than people realize, which sucks. Of the 68, no, it's like 72 teams. I don't know. However many teams, there have been only 8 positive tests within the tourney teams. And I haven't seen any player or coach turn up positive, so it must be a manager or something like that. So only 8 is good. That's good for them. I mean, it's still going to be insane if one of these teams can't field a team. But I I mean, because I know the rule is like, say if like Minnesota were to like not be able to play, I don't even know if they're in the tournament, but then instead of so then Louisville who was the first team out would jump in for them. But
Right.
say a team like Ohio that won the MAC can't play, they just forfeit, I'm pretty sure.
Is that how that works? Because they won it?
I've heard it two different ways. I've heard it they either forfeit or a team from that conference has to step up and come play.
Ooh.
But the problem is with that, I mean, you got to think that if you're a one bid league like that, I mean, your second and third place teams are going to the NIT, which is the case in the MAC.
Right.
So I can't imagine a team that would be one of their one of their contingencies. But if it is, then it is. But I just can't imagine.
So do you know what would happen if like Georgetown, who won it and won the bid, were to not be able to field the team because the Big East has Nova and Creighton in the tournament already? Would someone else have to slot in for Georgetown? Because that's technically the Big East champion seed.
I don't know. I'm looking at it right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I remember someone bringing up Georgetown because it was a weird case because they won the Big East, but the Big East obviously has a lot of.
Actually, they have 3 because I forgot about UConn.
Yeah, like I would think that. I would think that in place of Georgetown, it would just be the same as all other teams with multi-bid leagues. It'll just be Louisville, then St. Louis, and then when they run out of teams, they'll go to the next 4. So I assume that's what it'll be like. But you have to hope it doesn't end up coming to that, because if it ends up coming to that, then the whole tournament's screwed up. So
yeah, there's going to be an asterisk next to it if it happens.
Oh, of course. So all right, what do we get next? Okay, the new thing in the historically black colleges, the HBCU Legacy Bowl was just announced. Platform. I just want to make sure I was still on there. It will provide a platform for HBCU players. It's basically like the Senior Bowl, but for HBCU players.
The Senior Bowl for HBCU football players, where NFL scouts are going to be welcomed in to watch and take notes on these HBCU players. I think it's a great thing that's happening, and I think that it's going to be very beneficial for those players to get some more exposure, and it could potentially lead to more steals being found in the draft. Yes,
exactly what Tom said. I'm not going to click off it anymore. What's the next thing on my
Sure,
outline?
I got you. So Vanessa Bryant revealed the names of at least one police officer who took pictures at the crash site.
Yeah. This is I've been reading about this a little bit over the last couple months. I mean, she has a legal case. I just don't know why you would want to have to bring all the memories of that back in. Like, so,
I didn't hear anything about the case. What exactly is the
basically 4 of the sheriffs that were that first responded to the helicopter crash, they took pictures and released it to like news agencies, and which they were not supposed to do, obviously.
Right.
And Vanessa Bryant obviously ended up showing up on online places, and Vanessa Bryant didn't like it. And so now she is trying to either sue them or
it's
get something like that. But like I said, I don't know why she would do that, just to bring up old bad memories. I mean, she's got enough money from Kobe. Even though I hear there is like an issue between Vanessa and Kobe's mom. Like, was something going on there? I don't know. Like I said, it's a terrible subject to bring up, so I just don't know why she would go on to go through just to get another $1 million. It just doesn't make sense to me, but if it really means that much to her, whatever, do it.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, what's next?
Sure.
Unless you got something else on that.
No. I think that, I agree with you. I wouldn't be bringing it up, honestly.
Yeah, it's finally now like kind of outside of everyone's head. We've kind of moved on in the good way, not in obviously a bad way, but like we've moved on. They're playing basketball again. Like, why bring that all to the forefront of the news coverage right now? So,
Right.
But some people are different. Who knows? Yeah, I just remembered the thing that between Vanessa and Kobe's mom is Kobe's mom used to watch the kids, and like they didn't pay her, and now she's like suing Vanessa for like a couple $1 million for all the times that she took care of the kids.
Babysitting services, babysitting your grandkids.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Like I said, it's a weird thing, and like I said, it just brings up bad things. So I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's what money does to people. I guess I don't know.
Okay, I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah.
So the last bit of news is the Broncos have released Philip Lindsay, the feel-good story running back, into the free agency pool. Are we at all surprised at this?
I'm surprised a little bit. Wait, does Melvin Gordon play for Denver too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not as surprised. You don't really need two of the same running backs, and Melvin Gordon is basically a bigger version of Philip Lindsay.
A better version.
Yeah, bigger, better, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield better. It'll be interesting to see what his market is. I can't imagine.
He could be a really nice piece of a duo. He could be a really good secondary guy, but he's not going to be your 1A. He'll be your 1B or even your 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see him going to a place like San Francisco where they just have running backs that I mean. They just have like 5 running backs that all somehow average like 5 yards a carry. So I could see him going there. But yeah, other than that, I'm not that surprised. What's next? Are we going to do brackets next, or what was next?
So you have free agency, but I'm good to also do brackets.
I want to do free agency first, and then we can finish with the brackets.
All right.
So yes, obviously, the biggest news ever. Well, we didn't really miss any of the Jets news because I think that a lot of that happened on Tuesday with like Davis, or at least Monday night, I guess. I don't know. But the Browns signed John Johnson, basically, who was the leader of the best defense in the NFL last year on the Rams. This was such a shock to me because nowhere in my mind did I think that he would want to come to Cleveland. Like didn't have if I could have put, I mean, like probably other than Justin Simmons, he would probably be if I had thought that he would had a chance to get him, he would have been my second free agent, safety, but I didn't think they had any chance. And like I said, I was ready to go to bed on Monday night and finally figured it out. So,
I was really go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was really surprised that he was leaving Los Angeles, in all honesty.
So was I.
Because I knew they were in salary cap hell, like just as bad as the Saints kind of salary cap hell. And I just was like, they're going to find room because he was literally the heart and soul of that defense. And they didn't.
Well, I mean, the Rams always do weird things. I mean, it seems like every year Sean McVay just feels like somehow he's going to do this with his roster. It's going to be new and something. But I mean, I don't hate them for cutting him. I mean, if you think about it, safety is usually one of the more replaceable options. But I mean, the fact that, the Browns needed a safety help. Now now for the Browns, like you really don't even have to worry about Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit coming back this year and being healthy and playing above average is just an added bonus.
Right.
I think with those three, as long as Delpit comes along with Harrison, Johnson, and Delpit, I think you could see Delpit playing a lot in the slot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. You don't need necessarily fantastic corners. Like a lot of teams, when they get their nickel and their slot corners or their slot coverage guys, they usually tend to grab corners. But now with Delpit, he's allowed to kind of do a little bit of hybrid.
So I'll just finish up my Browns, and I'll let you do your Jets, and I'll let you do the rest of the free agency because you know way more. But I'll just finish up the Browns. They also signed Takaris McKinley, who at first, I thought it was a great pickup because I didn't think they expected him to be the guy that started opposite Myles Garrett. Apparently, they think he could be the guy to start opposite Myles Garrett. I graded it originally a B+ signing, but if they really think that he's going to be the guy opposite Garrett, then it's down to like a C+, B-, because I just don't think he's not consistent enough to do it. But it was a good signing. And then finally, after days of waiting, and I honestly thought he was for sure gone, the Browns finally re-signed Rashard Higgins. 1 year deal, $2.38 million, he still stayed for a hometown discount, but it's a big upgrade from what he was making last year, which was $910,000. And if the Browns ended right now in free agency, I think they still need to go out and get another edge rusher and probably a corner, but I wouldn't be super mad if they went into next season like this. So I guess that's kind of all I have to say about that. Like I said, I wasn't really all in on the Hendrickson guy. It just thinks like he was too inconsistent.
He led the NFL in sacks, I thought, didn't he?
Yeah, last year. That was his only good year. It was his only good year.
Yeah. Came out of nowhere.
But, and I wanted them to sign Carl Lawson. I think their best option for edge help, defensive line help, is going to be in the later rounds of the NFL draft. And also, you just got to look at free agency. You got give Jadeveon Clowney a shot. Give him a 1-year deal. Yep. I don't know who else what corners are out there. Well, I'll let you go first, and then I'll bring him up later. So
all right.
I'm sure.
Hey, you got to remember, though, the Browns still have their draft picks that they can get those edge rushers for.
Yeah,
I'd be focusing on corner and free agency personally if I were the Browns.
I would be focusing on corner in the draft because J.C. Horn is going to fall to them.
Hey, man, I love your positivity. I love the positivity.
No, I mean, if you really are going to stick at 26, I think Zaven Collins is – I think that's who they will take eventually because I don't think J.C. Horn sticks around as long. That's still – I don't think Zaven Collins is really helps you with, like a super much on the edge rushing kind of thing. I mean, he is capable of it, but he's more of a coverage. He's basically what I've scouted of him. He's a middle linebacker and playing an outside linebacker's position.
Yeah, he's very versatile is how I described him. He has the ability to play on either side of the ball, whether it's weak or strong. He's very good at dropping back into coverage and holds his own when he's rushing. So like he's a very raw player, but he's very complete in the sense that he can do everything. He just needs to polish up on some skills.
He's another guy that's built for today's NFL. Like if after 2 or 3 years, if he wanted to, he could probably make the change to a strong safety.
He could. Can he? Is he built like that?
He's 6'4", 200 something. I mean, he's bigger than like Isaiah Simmons, but I also think that Isaiah Simmons is almost too skinny to be playing a strong safety. But I don't know, whatever. So go on with your Jets because they also had what had to be a couple uplifting days, I will say.
Yes. So I have a list here of all of the free agent signings, and we can go over some of the bigger ones too. But for the Jets, obviously the only piece of news that we had when we recorded Monday's show was that they had franchise tagged Marcus May. And since then, they signed Jarrad Davis, the former first-round linebacker from the Lions, to a 1-year, $7 million deal, which I think is an absolute steal because Davis has the ability and has the physical traits to turn into a stud linebacker. He just needs the right coaching, and I think with Robert Saleh at the helm, he can revamp Jarrad Davis's career. Then they went out and signed Carl Lawson to a 3-year, $45 million deal with a max value of $47.4 million. I thought it was a little.
What was that deal? Just say it again.
3 years, $45 million that has a max value of $47.5 million.
That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
The only thing that irks me was the $30 million guaranteed. I felt like that's a little bit much, but not enough to make me hate the signing.
No.
He's gonna be playing alongside Quinn Williams, which is just gonna be so much fun to watch. It's not gonna be teams just doubling the one side now. They're gonna have to worry about both. And then the biggest signing that the Jets had was signing Corey Davis from the Tennessee Titans to a 3-year, $37.5 million contract. Corey Davis was not my number one or even my number two option coming into free agency of who I wanted the Jets to sign at wideout.
I think he was maybe like our fifth option.
Fourth or
fifth. Yeah, third or fourth. Yeah. Because we had obviously Allen Robinson and
Godwin. And then I was like, okay. Galladay was my 3.
Still on the market. We'll have to talk about him. Yeah. Go ahead.
So then, Corey Davis, or you could throw out. I saw a report today the Jets are apparently talking with Juju, and here's my only thing that I have to say about Juju. We're looking to get a receiver. We're not looking to boost our social media posts through TikTok. So I don't want Juju anywhere near my team because he can't compete with other wide receivers that are still out there.
I'll create a little trailer for this episode, and I'll
Oh no, he cut out. I didn't get to hear it. Oh man.
I'll just put it on Twitter and I'll be like, push it. All right. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I will say I love the Corey Davis signing. I think he's built to be a number one receiver. It'll just be weird in the beginning to see how he officially reacts to being a number one receiver. Because he has had AJ Brown before, but I think he has the perfect build and the perfect set of skills to be your number one receiver in the AFC.
Right. And it's really good because he doesn't really need to take on the workload that number one receivers really need to, because we do have Jay Crowder, who has a connection with quarterbacks that he's played with, because he is like that short route guy that'll go and do something with the ball. And you got to remember, we drafted Denzel Mims, who has the build to be a number one receiver and could potentially be a number one receiver. So I think that bringing a guy like Corey Davis is going to mesh really well with the other two guys that we have going forward. I really like the signing. I don't think the money is too atrocious. It's around 16 a year, right? Is that what the math is? Yeah. Or no, 12. Excuse me, 12 a year. A little bit more than 12.
I don't know. Yeah. We never mentioned the Browns signed Johnson for, it was 3 years, 33.75, I think. We never mentioned that. I just want to throw it in there.
No, you're right. I didn't have the number until I refreshed.
Yeah. But no, I think Corey Davis I think that's a good signing. From everything that seems to be happening, it seems like they're going to, well, I guess it doesn't seem like that. So I guess my biggest question to you is, I think you want Sam Darnold to stay. I think they're building up a team for Zach Wilson.
Yes. So I don't want to necessarily say that it's being built specifically for Wilson or Darnold. I think they're just trying to get the most amount of talent around whoever they're going to build around. Like Corey Davis is a guy who, yes, he can go deep and handle the deep ball duties, but he can also run the short and mid game and is really adept at route running. Same thing with Jay Crowder and Denzel Mims. We got to see what he's going to do. But I agree. They are trying to build for the future, and whether or not that includes Sam Darnold is still up in the air. I only don't want Wilson because I don't like the unknown, I guess. I don't like drafting quarterbacks because if you look back in the past at quarterbacks taken in the first round, there are a lot more busts than there are hits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So right before this, I forgot to tell you also, I was interviewing the Division I has FBS and they have like the AP poll. FCS uses what's called stats. It's like a group. It's whatever. I interviewed their senior editor about how the FCS kind of came along and everything. And the biggest problem this is about Zach Wilson. The biggest problem with Zach Wilson and and Trey Lance is there's not a lot of film out on them. You just don't know for sure what you're getting.
Right.
And that's exactly what Craig said to me. He was like, and the fact that, I mean, he didn't put it this way. I put it this way, but Trey Lance's last game, if you think about it, was last fall when he was 15 for 30 and threw the only interception in his career. And I kind of asked him, I was like, so that had to be a failure, right? He's like, they don't want to say it like that, but yeah, it didn't really help. And so I think it's really hard to take a quarterback like Wilson, number 2, after having just 1 year of film on him. And granted, that year of film is against Mountain West opponents.
Right. And the times that he did go in and play. What was that?
In the biggest game of the year against Coastal, he did okay, but they lost.
I was just going to bring that up. The only time that he played a big name team or a team that was just as good as them, they lost. And he played average at best. He didn't put the team on his back and carry them to victory. Or he didn't even put them on his back and they just weren't good enough to win. Like, it was a very mediocre game.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it before, and I know it sounds stupid. How are you a quarterback and you're not a captain? And I know it's from the movie. It sounds stupid, but especially at a place
Nobody
like BYU,
came to his birthday
that question has to. Maybe there's something like it's not a big deal or something, but like BYU, like if you're a quarterback, you're a captain. And it just surprised me that it wasn't. So I hope for your sake they don't take Zach Wilson. I think they could add. Go ahead. I just think they can add a huge offensive piece.
Yeah, and if they were to say like, look, we really do need a quarterback, I would much rather them take Justin Fields. And I am not a huge Justin Fields believer, but at least there's some tape on him, and there's tape on him versus legitimate programs.
I kind of said it in the beginning. Once it was, I don't know if you saw it, but online there was like it was like a chart that it was XY chart that had like where Fields, Lance, and Lawrence and Wilson were all like where they were all projected to go in mock drafts. And it starts out like from the beginning from like earlier this year until like now. And it's just, you got me?
You're still cutting out really bad. Like you're going in and out. You got me? And now your video is frozen, but I get your audio.
Just continue free agency. I'm going to try and switch my internet. Just continue with free agency. I'll be back on.
Yeah, I was just going to go down through some of the big signings. I'll kind of touch on each of the 4 our divisions on each side. So, yep. So if we're going to just start with the AFC East, because that's who I pulled up. Former Saints wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders agrees to 1-year contract with the Bills. I love this signing for the Bills. They get a secondary guy to Stephon Diggs. It's a huge deal. Love it for them. And it gives Josh Allen another weapon that is only going to add to how deadly the offense is. The Bills also signed Darrell Williams to a 3-year contract worth $28.2 million with $14 guaranteed. I'm going over the Bills. I just said Emmanuel Sanders signing. Huge, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they after losing John Brown or letting John Brown walk, they needed someone else to be able to catch the ball. I mean, you have to think about it. I would think that Stephon Diggs next year is, I mean, he's clearly going to be double teamed, but he's still going to probably attract 18 to 20 targets a game. So
yeah, just like D-Hop does with Arizona.
Yeah. So that's a good signing.
Yeah, and then they signed Darrell Williams to a 1-year deal or 3-year contract with $28 million with $14 guaranteed, boosting the O-line.
That's fine with me. I mean, if he worked for you to get to the AFC Championship, then he can work for you.
Yep. And then did we talk about Matt Milano? I feel like we did on last show.
We did. Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't they re-sign him? Yep.
Re-signed him to 4 years, $41 million, $21 million guaranteed.
That's in even now, how more numbers are coming out, that's a good deal for him. It's a really good deal.
Very, very good deal.
For how many numbers are coming out from all the guys now. So, yeah.
Right. Miami, they signed Jacoby Brissett to a 1-year deal, $5 million, worth up to $7.5 million. I think this is a great backup plan in case Tua doesn't work out. Because Brissett, although he wasn't a starter last year, when he has been in the starting role and he has come in mid-season to fill in for the starter, he's very consistent with what he does. He doesn't put up the best numbers, but he's consistent with the good numbers that he puts up. So I think that's a really good signing.
I just want to say this. This is going to be – I know I have hot take at the end, but this will be my hot take. I really think the Dolphins need to draft a quarterback. I don't hate Tua at all. But if you look at the rest of their roster, it is built to win now and win for the next couple of years in foreseeable future. So the chances that even if you're bad, the fact that your defense and the rest of the positions around a quarterback are good enough means you're not going to be picking in the top 5 probably for another 5 years.
Right.
So if you're not completely sold on Tua, if they're completely sold on Tua, then that's fine, whatever. But if you're not completely sold on Tua, I think you do yourself a good service by drafting one of the guys.
Yeah, Josh Rosen, bro. I
mean, even after Josh Rosen, they were still able to get a second-round pick for him, which is crazy considering I don't think Rosen's played a game since.
He's not. I don't think he's ever been the actual backup. I think he's been a third string or lower ever since.
It's crazy because he's not even you think he would at least be a solid backup in the NFL. Yeah, he's not even the backup anymore. It's just weird. But I think they would do themselves a huge favor if they drafted one of the
right. And Tua will go
and then you at least tell your fan base in the future, be like, we did what we could for 2 years. We drafted quarterbacks 2 years straight. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. It wasn't necessarily our fault, but yeah.
Right.
So,
and Tua's going to go for more than a second. He's not broken or damaged goods like Rosen was after his first year.
I have to think the Saints would give up their pick for him. The Saints wouldn't, because that's of course I would say the only team in the NFC that wouldn't give up their pick for him because they like Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston.
Well,
But I just
Anyway, Miami also
he would draw either a first round pick or if not a first round pick, like the first 3 picks in the second round.
Right. Miami also signed Malcolm Brown to a 1-year deal that's worth $1.75 million. He's not going to be the starter. I think that they're going to try and either draft someone or go for another big name that's still out there to join that cluster that is their running back room.
Who they signed?
Malcolm Brown. He was with the Rams.
I thought he was a defensive tackle.
There might be another guy named Malcolm Brown.
I think there is, but yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Finally, to round out, because I already talked about the Jets and their signings, we need to talk about the Patriots, dude. Holy crap.
I don't see, but this is I'm still on the on board the idea that it's not going to work out completely for him.
I sort of agree, but oh man. The laundry list of big names they went out and spent. I think in the first 3 hours, and I forget where I saw this, but I think I saw a post on Instagram. In the first 3 hours of free agency, Bill Belichick spent $156 million, which is so just not the Patriots' MO.
Well, what it's pretty clear what they're trying to do. They're trying to buy the team back from their last Super Bowl, 2019, 2018, whatever it was. They're trying to buy that team back. They just signed Van Noy again.
Yeah.
So they're literally trying to just bring that 2019 team back. And what people don't also realize about the Colts or the Patriots is, I think at least 2 of their starting linebackers opted out this season. I think Donta Hightower and someone else did. Yeah, so they're going to be set at linebacker. It's just I still don't think Belichick can do it without a good quarterback.
Yeah,
and
they re-signed Cam for $13.6 million.
Like you don't even know how terrified I am that the Patriots are going to get their hands on Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, and they're just going to win the Super Bowl for the next 55 years. Like, that can't happen. We need to start something across the league that makes sure all the good quarterbacks are gone before them.
Honestly, I think they will, because they're not going to trade up. That's the one thing I think Belichick will never do, is they're not going to trade up for a guy, and other teams will trade up to get one of those 4 quarterbacks.
I could see them. I could see them landing with like a Kyle Trask in like the second round.
That would piss me off. That would really piss me off if that happened, because they're Belichick's
gonna land. They're gonna land one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this draft class. They're gonna get him, and it's just so. God, I don't know what to say about it, because I'm so beaten down by it. Like I have this thought in my head, like, where I'm so excited because I don't think it's going to work out really, and I think they're going to suck and everything. But then on the other side of my head, I'm like, this is 100% going to work out for them, and they're just going to be Super Bowl champs again.
I have to just read the list just because I have to, because I did it for
everyone else. I don't think I know actually half of them, so yeah, read it.
So I'm just going to start at the top. They signed Cam Newton. Like I said, it's a deal worth up to $13.6 million. Base value of, I'm not going to break down his contract. It's worth $13.6 million. Then they went out and signed Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. Aguilar got a 2-year contract worth $26 million, and Kendrick Bourne got 3 years, $22.5 million. So they went out and got receivers because the receiver room sucks. Then the biggest signings that they did, they signed both Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Jonnu Smith signed for 4 years, $50 million, and Hunter Henry signed for 3 years, $37.5 million. That's not even half the list.
I mean, I don't think that's smart. Well, I think it's smart because I hope they're just planning on sticking with one of those tight ends. I mean,
they had success with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk when they did it. He's trying to rebuild that.
Yes, he's trying to rebuild the Patriots. He's trying to basically make a headless Patriots team, and the head is Tom Brady. So he's making a headless Patriots team that he can find a head somewhere to stick on it.
Right.
It just sucks. Go ahead.
It really sucks. They traded for Trent Brown from Las Vegas. So I think they traded a 5th to get Trent Brown and a 7th, which that's a fleece. Like, the Raiders always take anything that have a better pick involved. They don't even look at the trade other than the picks.
I mean, it's going to be funny when the Patriots come out next year and they're running like Navy's offense.
You're right. Bill
Belichick. I feel like this is like his new goal, is to find a quarterback and create a new offense in the NFL.
He's going to do it. He's going to be the visionary.
The only thought in my head is that after Tom Brady won this last Super Bowl, I finally think all along it's been Brady. But if it comes down to the fact that it really has been Belichick too, I might just quit football forever. I don't know.
If Belichick finds a way to make Cam Newton an MVP candidate, I'm going to stop watching football, because
we have to. I mean, there are players in like high school football right now that are better than Cam Newton at throwing the ball. Yeah. Not running, but he's not really running the ball either. And Cam Newton, he's also one of the dudes that you would think, looking at him, that would never survive in New England. He's all about like his flashy style. Yep. He writes in like hieroglyphics. Like, you just immediately when he signed last year, I was like, this is not going to work out. And it didn't really work out. But now, like I said, they're just going to be running Navy's offense next year with Cam Newton there.
I have to finish this list. Ted Karras signed a 1-year, $4 million deal. Dedrick Wise Jr. signed a 4-year contract worth $30 million. Devon Gorcho, I'm assuming his name is Gorcho. 2-year deal up to $16 million. Henry Anderson signed a 2 years, $11 million deal. Matt Judon from the Ravens signed a 4-year, $56 million deal. Obviously, you mentioned before they signed Kyle Van Noy to a 2-year deal worth $13 million. Justin Bethel re-signed for 3 years, $6 million deal. And then they got Jalen Mills from the Eagles on a 4-year, $24 million contract. And that is the end of the list. That is the end of one division. I'm just going to speed through it. Were there any huge signings with the AFC North? Kevin Zeitler signed with the Ravens.
That was another one where Browns fans all over. I think I told you about it last time. It seems like we're still in the phase where if any decent team cuts a player, we just want them. I mean, the cries for Kevin Zeitler when we probably had the best right guard in the league last year, the cries for Kevin Zeitler were a bit much. I was like, guys, we don't need Kevin Zeitler back. We have found a better version of him, and he's cheaper right now.
Right.
So that was another one where guys were like, yeah, but we could have him as a backup. Like, oh, so we're going to pay $25 million for a backup just because he once played for no.
The Ravens signed with 3 years, $22 million deals with 16 guaranteed. I mean, you're not paying that for a backup.
No. Zeitler is good though, but Zeitler is more of like an agile guy. He doesn't necessarily fit the MO of a Ravens offensive lineman. He's not more. He's more of a pass protector than a power run. But I mean, they're guards. I mean, they have strength. They can do whatever they want.
Right. We already talked about the Bengals signing Trey Hendrickson. That was the only big thing that they've done. The Steelers haven't signed anyone, and your Browns you already went over. In the AFC South, what?
All right, we'll get through these. Come on. We still got to do college basketball, bud.
I know. I'm just going to speed through them. AFC South, the Texans signed Tyrod Taylor to a deal up to $12.5 million in case Deshaun Watson sits out.
When Deshaun Watson doesn't play for them.
Right, or he's suspended or whatever it may be. They also signed Mark Ingram to come play the complement to David Johnson if there is such thing. And they also acquired Shaq Lawson in a trade with the Dolphins and them McKinney, their linebacker. The Colts haven't made any huge moves other than trading for Carson Wentz, obviously, and they re-signed Marlon Mack to a 1-year deal. The Jaguars are in a race with the Colts, actually, to see who can end free agency with the most money. So they haven't done any huge moves. They signed Carlos Hyde back to their team, and Marvin Jones are the two big guys that they signed. And they also signed Shaquille Griffin from the Seahawks. The Titans signed Bud Dupree. I know you were looking for him on the Browns. Are you surprised that he went to the Titans at all?
No, I'm not surprised. And the price tag that he was going to fetch, I didn't really want him anymore anyways. Right. We can't with what the team is now, we can't we can't pay a 28-year-old linebacker for 5 more years. It's just not worth it.
Right. We got some breaking news here on the show. Mitch Trubisky is joining Buffalo as a backup.
Hey, he's going to enjoy that a lot more than he enjoyed Chicago. So
why he's signing with another cold city when he played in North Carolina, I don't know.
Oh, he grew up in Ohio.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is incredibly weird. I forgot what I was going to say about that. Yeah. So I feel really bad for Bears fans. They basically went from like dreaming of Russell Wilson to the nightmare that is Andy Dalton. That has to suck. Like just going thinking like, you know what, it's against, we probably won't do it, but there have been things about it. So
Watson, Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean, that had to be just devastating for Bears fans to be like, Nick Foles is probably a better starter than Andy Dalton.
We're going to have a competition on our hands. What can we say?
Unbelievable. I feel so bad for Bears fans.
I'll just only finish up the AFC because, like you said, we got to get into college basketball. Denver hasn't really done anything other than tag Justin Simmons and sign Ronald Darby to a 3-year, $30 million deal.
They re-signed Von Miller.
They did execute the club option. For some reason, that's not on here. And they also re-signed fan favorite Shelby Harris, the defensive tackle, I guess. The Chiefs signed Joe Thuney on a 5-year, $80 million contract.
See, that's what's so weird about the Patriots not signing. Like, you figure that would have been like, for a rebuild, that would have been like Belichick's first choice, like a standout offensive lineman. But
right.
So it's kind of weird, but it makes sense for him to go to the Chiefs too, because I think they now have one offensive line player.
Well, they actually have two because they talked Kyle Long out of retirement, and he is also signing with the team.
Kyle Long,
the guard.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so he's now out of retirement, signed with the Chiefs. We also got some other news that I guess I missed because I never saw this until just now. The Raiders signed Kenyon Drake to a 2-year, $11 million deal. I hate that signing. I absolutely despise that.
Why?
Because Josh Jacobs is more than capable of being a workhorse back.
Okay.
But anyway.
Did you want Kenyon Drake or something?
No, I didn't want him. I just thought that he would have made better. I thought he would go to the Bills.
I thought he would have made better life decisions.
No, I thought he would have made like a better starter than some of the other guys in the league. But he's going to be playing a backup now because Josh Jacobs is their future. The Raiders signed Kenyon Drake. John Brown signed with them after being released from the Bills. Richie Incognito re-signed. Yannick Ngakoue, they got their defensive end and their edge guy. 2-year, $26 million deal.
With who?
And Yannick Ngakoue.
With who?
The Raiders.
Okay.
They also signed Solomon Thomas to play another defensive line spot for them.
He never really lived up to what he could have been.
Right. And then to finish out the AFC and to finish up our free agent talk, the Chargers signed Jared Cook this morning to a 1-year, $6 million deal. They also landed Matt, I'm going to butcher his name, Filer? Yeah. Cool. Filer to a multi-year deal. And they also landed Corey Linsley from the Packers on a 5-year, $62 million deal.
And the 49ers locked up Trent Williams for the largest offensive lineman deal in the history of football.
And Fitzmagic signed with the Washington football team because that is the only piece of news we need.
That's a great signing. The Jets are going to be mad they didn't. The Jets are going to be mad they didn't sign him. I'm
mad they didn't sign him.
The last thing I have for agency is shockingly. Well, I guess not shockingly. Everyone's trying to make cuts, but Adoree Jackson got cut by the Titans. I would love to see the Browns look into him. Since 2018, he's the 4th top-rated cover corner on the outside. So that would be huge if we could pick up a guy like him. I also wanted to look into Richard Sherman. I would rather not have to get a corner out of the draft because last time we did that, he's been out for 2 years now. So
yeah. Also, guys that you could look into if they're a little bit younger, it might get them for a longer term. That I also want the Jets to look at. Brian Poole, who is a current Jet or was a Jet, and Desmond King from the Titans. It was a long-time guy from the Chargers. Traded him last season. I think he'd be a really good addition.
All right, let's get into some college basketball. So which two did we not do?
So we did not do the South and the Midwest.
Okay, well then we're just going to do the same thing we did last time. I hope you have it up.
I do. So the first game is going to be Baylor-Hartford.
Baylor.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I just hope Baylor doesn't lose to a 16 seed.
Probably the most important game of the week for Justin. North Carolina versus Wisconsin. I've been seeing split reports on this.
North Carolina has the advantage in a big way in the front court, and Wisconsin has the advantage in a big way in the back court. They have Travion Jackson. I still think North Carolina wins because, like I said, they have more talent than Wisconsin. But I'm hoping it's a close game. I am not expecting much from North Carolina this year, so I just kind of hope it's a close game. I would love to see just more. I want to see just more good basketball in the tournament.
I agree. I have Wisconsin winning it strictly because rebounds tend to help the winning team, and like you said, Wisconsin's got the big men. But
that's literally not at all what I said.
I missed it. Then I meant
North Carolina has the edge in the front court, and no one in the country rebounds as well as North Carolina does. So you might want to rethink here.
Yeah, this might be the wrong bracket because I did my main bracket and then I did 5 others that have like a bunch of different things.
Yes, North Carolina.
This is my 3rd bracket. I wanted to click on my 1st bracket. My bad. So now that I'm on the correct bracket, Villanova versus Winthrop. I think
Winthrop has a really good chance. I'm going to pick Winthrop.
I'm going Winthrop as well.
Gillespie's out for Nova. They just don't seem like a team. They don't seem to me like a team that's going to come in and like start off hot. I mean, they were hotter in the middle of the season than they were at the end of the season. So, I mean, they're kind of coming into March limping. So, yeah, I like Winthrop. And Winthrop, I think they lost 1 game this year. So they should be pretty solid. But then again, Jamie, whatever his last name is a great coach. So we'll see.
Right. Next game is Purdue versus North Texas.
Purdue's playing at home, so I like Purdue.
I also like Purdue, but I think Purdue, because they are playing mainly in Indiana, it's basically going to be a home game every time for them. I think they could go a lot deeper than some people are thinking, and I know that a lot of people have been talking about it on ESPN during the bracketology segments or whatever, but I think Purdue could be a really sneaky Sweet 16 or not Sweet 16, sneaky Elite 8 play potentially if they could upset Baylor.
Yeah, that makes sense. It would make more sense if they didn't let their best player from last year transfer to BYU.
Very true.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that first game of Purdue's is in Purdue.
It is, yes.
I thought so, yeah.
So the next game is Texas Tech versus Utah State.
Utah State has been one of the popular picks, upset picks. I like Texas Tech. Chris Beard
I also have Texas Tech.
Chris Beard gets it done. Mac McClung is he should at least get a job at the next level. So yeah, I like Texas Tech, and they're a team that's usually built for March. So
I agree very much so. I love Texas Tech this year. The next game is Arkansas Colgate. And they'll play the winner in Texas Tech, and I personally have Arkansas winning this because I don't believe in Colgate, but I do have Arkansas losing to Texas Tech. That's how much I believe.
What are we on?
Arkansas Colgate.
Oh, Arkansas Colgate is going to be a good game. It's going to be first to 100 probably wins the game. Right. They're both incredibly high scoring. I like Arkansas. And I like Arkansas to beat Texas Tech because I think I've told you, but Arkansas, they have one really, really good freshman, Moody, and then all their other players are either transfers in or things like that. So they've done a new way of recruiting, so I'd like to see if it works. They're very long, they're fast, and like I said, they score at will. So I like Arkansas a lot.
I mean, fair enough, man. I like picking some upsets here and there, but I'm interested to see too. I kind of forgot that Arkansas was the team you were telling me about with the weird transferring scenarios and everything.
Them in Cleveland State.
Okay, I think that's where I remembered Cleveland State that you were telling me about, but I guess I kind of forgot about Arkansas. The next game is Florida versus Virginia Tech.
I haven't seen either two of these. What seeds are these?
This is 7-10. Florida
I'll take Florida.
Florida went 14-9. Virginia Tech went 15-6 on the year. I have Virginia Tech. I
take it back. I want Virginia Tech too because the ACC was much harder than.
That's exactly where I was going. They have a worse record potentially, or not potentially. They kind of do. They didn't play nearly as many games as Florida did, but they played a lot better competition. So I like Virginia Tech as an upset there. Then we have Ohio State versus Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts is actually they're usually in the tournament almost every year, but Ohio State. It's going to be a weird game. It's probably going to be closer than most people anticipate, but Ohio State will win.
I agree.
Ohio State they play to the level of their competition.
Yeah, I feel like that is a good summary of that. Especially, I loved watching that Big Ten championship game, dude. That was so much fun to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from both teams. Do you want to do the round of 32 for this side next, or go straight down to the Midwest region?
Just go down to the Midwest region.
All right.
And we did all the way through to the Sweet 16 on the other side, right?
Right. So that would be just doing the round of 32.
So, just go all the way down and then just go all the way down to Sweet 16. Then we'll cut it off there and we'll kind of pick it up on Monday.
Okay. Illinois versus Drexel.
Illinois, Drexel's a fraud. The best team in the CAA this year was James Madison. They just fucked up and didn't win the tournament. So
Drexel.
Drexel's a bunch of frauds.
Yeah, I have Illinois as well. Loyola Chicago versus Georgia Tech.
Big news, Georgia Tech's best player and the ACC player of the year is out from protocols. So I actually like whoever you said they're playing. Who are they
Loyola
playing?
Chicago. Sister Jean.
Loyola Chicago and Sister Jean will be there. She just got the COVID shot, I think, either yesterday or the day before, so she will be there. I'm already sick of Loyola Chicago. I think they win, but I'm already sick of them. I want them off my TV screen.
Right. I went with Loyola Chicago as well, not even knowing Georgia Tech's best player was out. So,
yeah, I mean, Loyola Chicago has been in the top 10 in Ken Pom all year, which is insane.
Right. Next game, we have Tennessee versus Oregon State. Oregon State made the run to secure their bid in their conference championship game.
I like Oregon State. I think they're playing hot, and I don't think Tennessee, when they played in the SEC semifinal, I think they kind of gave that all their effort, and it didn't win. So, no, I like the other ones.
I also went with Oregon State. And it's weird because I don't remember the last time I've had two 12 seeds advance in a bracket.
One of the ESPN guys I was reading today said he picked all the 12s in the first round.
Really? Who's the other? Oh, well, I had three. Excuse me. I had 3 12 seeds advance. The only one I didn't have was USBC, and that is entirely possible.
USBC?
UCSB. Whoops. I'm dyslexic. We've been over this. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I picked 3 12 seeds to move on as well. So this is the year of upsets on the 5s, I guess. Next one, fan favorite of mine, Oklahoma State versus Liberty for the 4-13 matchup.
I think this sucks for Liberty because I think Liberty is a good team.
Yep.
Sadly, they just run into the Cade Cunningham bulldozer and lose. Like I said, Cade Cunningham is good enough to take a team pretty much by himself. He reminds me of Carmelo Anthony a little bit. Yep. 3. I don't think he'll go as far because I think it's much tougher nowadays to do it than it was back then.
Yep.
But I like them winning. Like I said, I like Liberty a lot. I just don't like them against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you said, especially the comparison to Carmelo Anthony. I just because like I said, I like picking upset brackets. I have an entire bracket devoted to Oklahoma State winning it, just because I, like you said, I was looking at him as Carmelo Anthony, and Carmelo Anthony won it. So like,
yeah, but you got to make that be you got to make that be your only bracket then. Like you can't just have like what you're
I
basically
have
doing.
6 brackets, David.
What you're basically doing is you're going around to all your friends and you're starting a conversation about the tournament. And then when they say a team that you did have winning it, you'll be like, oh, I had that team win it all in my 14th bracket.
Well, no. So I only submit one into like the whatever tournaments I'm doing, but I do just some other ones for fun. So I have 6 brackets. One of them has Gonzaga winning, which is the one that I've entered because like it's Gonzaga. Then I have one with Texas Tech, one with Oklahoma State, one with Iowa, one with Illinois, and one with West Virginia.
None with North Carolina. Wow, that's a bold move. All right, go
on. Next one is San Diego State versus Syracuse. I am never picking Syracuse to win a tournament game, so I went with San Diego State.
I like Syracuse. Buddy Boeheim's the man.
Yeah.
He's also way too tall to be called Buddy.
Right. How could I forget the height factor?
Like 6'6", 6'7". Like, it's not Buddy. That's like felon or something.
Oh my God. Great. Love that. West Virginia takes on Morehead State.
I usually would like Morehead State. I just don't like them against West Virginia. I think West Virginia is, Bob Huggins, if there's ever a coach you want to look to, a model of consistency over the past 20 years, it's pretty much Bob Huggins. They always have a top 20 team. They're always very good at defense, and they usually have a pretty good – their offense usually runs through a floor general type point guard. So I like West Virginia a lot.
I also like West Virginia a lot. The next game is Clemson versus Rutgers. This was actually, I think, the hardest game for me to pick.
This is not a hard game for me to pick. Rutgers is going to beat Clemson. It'll go to show how much better the Big Ten was at basketball this year than any other conference.
Yeah, I picked Rutgers as well, strictly because of them being in the Big Ten. But like the ACC was still really good too, and Clemson, like, they hung around. They weren't fantastic, but like Rutgers, they had a little spike in the season because they just kind of fell apart a little bit. But they're still a really good team because they were playing against Big Ten teams when that spike had happened. When they were playing the Illinois and the rest of the Michigan, like they were just in the harder conference. So I like Rutgers a lot. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the guys that move on in the next round, but I love Rutgers to upset there. Then the last game of the round of 64. Go ahead.
If you think about it, if there wasn't Gonzaga and Baylor this year, there's a pretty good chance that all 4 number 1 seeds would have been Big Ten teams. Right.
Because there was Michigan.
It would be Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, and Iowa.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at the 4 1 seeds. Yeah.
That's insane. And then, like, if you'd move that up, like Purdue could potentially jump into a 2 seed. And I don't know, Wisconsin probably wouldn't get to a 2 seed, but they can move up to a 3 or a 4. Like,
Wisconsin is way underseeded as a 9. They should be at least a 7, I would think. The Big Ten was just so much better than every other conference this year.
Yeah, and it wasn't even close. Like there was no comparison. Yeah. So I agree 100%. And it's kind of scary to look at it that way. I didn't even think about if Gonzaga and Baylor weren't there, but it would literally be like 1s and 2 seeds are all the Big Ten. So then the last game of the round of 64 is Houston versus Cleveland State.
I think this will be closer than a lot of people expect. I think Houston wins. One of the weird things about Houston is in the beginning of the season, at the end of fall last year, their best player left the program. And they haven't missed a beat ever since he's been gone. So I think Houston's for real this year. I know I did an article for Flurry about 2 months ago about where some of your best odds to find a national championship was. I think Houston was like plus 700 or something like that, or maybe higher. And I would say go with them because they have the profile of a team that can win the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I have them going all the way to I think it's the Elite Eight. Am I wrong? That looks like the Elite Eight is where I have them going to. Anywho's the round of 32 for these sides of the bracket, this side of the bracket. So it was Baylor, which we both said, versus North Carolina.
I would love to see North Carolina win. And while I think right now it's actually more likely than it ever has been or ever was this year, because Baylor, after they came back from that COVID break, they've not been the same Baylor team.
Yeah. Messed up the mojo.
But they still get past North Carolina. North Carolina isn't experienced enough in the wings and at the point. So,
yeah. I remember I chose Wisconsin for that one, and I have them getting past Wisconsin as well.
Yeah, and even UNC is terrible at threes. So it's going to be tough for them to play a game against Baylor and miss all their threes. So, yeah, yep. I like Baylor to move on to the Sweet 16.
So then the next matchup was, I think we both had Winthrop, and I think we both had Purdue as well.
Yes. I didn't know that they would play Purdue next. I guess I would need to see exactly where that game is. I would think it would still be at Purdue if it's a second round game.
This says it's at Lucas Oil Stadium. Like they're turning it into a basketball
I like Winthrop then.
You know what? Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong here.
I like Purdue Winthrop then. I like.
Okay.
Purdue's what?
They're playing at Lucas Oil for their first game as well, but it's basically going to be a Purdue home game.
Yeah, I still like Winthrop in that second round. I think Winthrop is the best underdog we've had in a while.
Since Loyola Chicago.
Loyola Chicago they were, but UMBC was the better ones.
Right. So then the next matchup is Texas Tech versus Arkansas.
I know that you picked Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech. I like Chris Beard. I just like Coach Eric Musselman and Moody a lot better than I like anyone on Texas Tech. So unless Mac McClung can come out of his body and have a out of his body type performance, they're not gonna move on.
Makes sense. So then the last one for this section is Virginia Tech versus Ohio State.
I think once again this comes down to which was the better conference this year, and I think Ohio State was the Big Ten was the better conference. Virginia Tech had a good year, and they're probably one of the programs that is rising. It's one of the more where you think about football, where you think it's a football school, but they're actually rising as a basketball program. It's the same thing with Texas Tech, and the same thing with Texas A&M as well. What game are we talking about?
Ohio State, Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah. But no, I still like Ohio State. Like I said, I think the Big Ten was that much better this year. And the thing that makes Ohio State tough to play is their ability to play at whatever pace you want them to play at. They can run on you if they want. They would prefer not to run, but they can if they need to. And they also just added, which is very funny. They added once the second semester started at Ohio State, they added a high school player from Cleveland who graduated early. His name is Michi Johnson. He's good. He's a really good shooter, so it'll help him out. But the fact that he was able to enroll early in Ohio State is all kinds of messed up, and they're going to look into it. His dad is basically his name is Sonny Johnson. His dad is he's like the biggest high school coach in Ohio, and he does all this recruiting stuff. So it's just very funny that somehow his son got to play in Ohio State a year early. So But no,
Yeah,
he's a good shooter, and like I said, they can play at different paces, and they have a pretty good set of inside outside type of players. So they're one of the more well-rounded teams in the tournament this year.
I agree.
Which is crazy considering that we had our first episode, and I think we talked about how bad Ohio State sucks, and then like we finally started talking about college basketball again like a month later, and Ohio State was like in the top 5, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's also really amazing to like kind of look and see how they're both good at football and now basketball. It's really hard for a school to kind of put that together. I don't think anyone really has been able to do both.
Alabama this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying prior to this year. It's funny to see how like them, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson have all kind of like been able to put out a decent product in basketball now. Two good products. I mean, Ohio State and Alabama are twos.
Okay.
Anyway, to kind of finish this off because I have class, we have Illinois versus Loyola Chicago. Illinois is just so much better. It's not even funny.
Yes.
Then we have Oregon State versus Oklahoma State. I went Oklahoma State, of course, because Cade Cunningham is Carmelo Anthony.
I like who they playing?
Oregon State.
Yeah, I mean, I like Oregon State to have enough momentum to get through that first round matchup after their hot streak at the end there. Not enough to shut down Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate.
I will say there are some other decently good players on Oklahoma State. So
yeah, it's just Cade Cunningham is a different
just
breed.
Mostly Cade Cunningham.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate for both Oregon State and Liberty to have to play Oklahoma State. If they were in any other portion of the bracket, I'd love to see them go deeper.
Yeah, Liberty,
especially if they were in the East.
Yeah, I mean, and we also have to talk about, I mean, what a cakewalk it should be for Gonzaga. I mean,
yeah, they got put in the easiest bracket. It's not even funny.
It's clear that the NCAA is like, all right, you guys need to win a national championship so people can stop making jokes about it now. Like,
then the last, no, we got two more. There's San Diego State versus West Virginia.
I like West Virginia.
I also like West Virginia. Huggy Bear, live on. And then Rutgers versus
still alive. He's still alive, yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive, all right, in that tourney.
All right, go to the next one.
And then the last game is Rutgers versus Houston. That's going to be a really interesting matchup.
That's not Houston. A really interesting matchup. Houston is going to dominate.
Probably, but you got to remember Rutgers, like we were just talking about, they played in the Big Ten, so maybe they're a little more battle ready than we think. But
I totally agree. All right, so that's pretty much going to do it. You got to get to class. I have to go to sleep. I'm tired. No, I'm just kidding. I have to do some other stuff for FCS this weekend. But so to close it all out, Tom, we of course have some questions for you.
For me, oh
boy. Never mind. Okay, just have fun in Atlantic City. Don't get arrested. I know you think that you're 21 now and you can't get arrested. It's in fact false. You still can get arrested.
Very, very good assumption. Thank you. I will do my best.
I learned that the hard way. So have fun. Definitely fill me in on what bets you're placing. And if they have a live sports book, I will be Venmoing you money to put in bets for me.
All right, man. I will. I'll keep you posted. I might hit you up for some of the games there.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely have some fun. Like I said, don't be a complete idiot. And then next week's, like I said, also that Craig Haley interview will be added either into this or on the same page. I'm also putting it on Flurry because they want me to put it on there too. So that's a good interview if you want to know more about the spring FCS season and who you should be looking at towards the end of the year. And then I think that's it. And then next week's schedule, I think we'll probably do Monday and Thursday, or we might switch it up depending on what days the tournament are playing and stuff like that.
Yeah, where's the break? Yep.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. But we'll hopefully probably have 2 shows next week and then maybe just 1 the following week, but we'll see. So like I said, Tom, have fun, bud. And yeah. Go Dogs.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Go Dogs, baby. You already know. All right.